2021, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. was undoubtedly the most feared hitter on the planet. In 2022, he took a minor step back but still posted elite numbers.
Guerrero smokes it, deep left field, you can forget it! A frozen rope to the seats in left field, and the Blue Jays have a 3-0 lead.
Then in 2023, he regressed even further.
Oh, do they pick it off? Oh, they got him! Oh, what a mistake by Vladimir Guerrero.
And so far, 2024 hasn't been much better. Yeah, it's safe to say Vladdy's career hasn't yet reached the heights most are anticipating when he was a minor leaguer making baseballs disappear over the fence on a seemingly daily basis. And with the Blue Jays offense steadily decreasing in terms of runs per game every year since 2021, they need prime Vladdy more than ever. But the question is, will he ever return? When Vladdy burst onto the scene in the Jays farm, he was receiving comparisons to all-time greats such as Miguel Cabrera and Albert Pujols, with many anticipating him becoming one of the game's best hitters the moment he stepped foot on a major league diamond. But this did not happen, because in his first 2 seasons in the big leagues, he boasted great numbers for just a 20 and 21-year-old, but with the prospect status he held, these figures felt underwhelming, especially when looking elsewhere around the league and seeing Ronald Acuna Jr. finish top 5 in MVP voting at just 21 years old, and Fernando Tatis Jr. excel with 39 home runs before his age 22 season. But it was foolish to write off Vlad so soon, and heading into the 2021 season at just 22 years old, he shook off the bus chatter surrounding his name and put together one of the greatest offensive seasons in MLB history. In fact, he now finds himself atop the list for most home runs at age 22 or younger with 48, beating out all-time greats in Eddie Matthews, Joe DiMaggio, and Johnny Bench. He also became just the 6th player aged 22 or younger to post at least 40 home runs, 100 runs scored, and 100 RBIs. Yeah, it's safe to say he had finally arrived at the big league level, and if it weren't for Shohei Ohtani having the most impressive single season in MLB history, he would have won the MVP award. So what changed heading into 2021? Well, it's easy to say he was only 22 years old with less than 800 plate appearances at the major league level, and all that happened was he got accustomed to facing big league pitching, and that is certainly part of the reason why he broke out. But there were also a few direct changes in his game. For starters, he moved positions going from third base to first. It was a change most were anticipating as he was one of the game's worst defenders. In his first 2 seasons, he ranked 3rd worst in the majors in outs above average at -22. Then once he moved to first, he was a little bit better at just -4 in 2021, and in terms of defensive runs saved, he had a positive 2 figure, ranking 11th among first basemen. This move to first also allowed him to focus more on hitting rather than dwell on all the mistakes he'd been making at third. And this wasn't the only change in his game in 2021, as he also got in much better athletic shape, losing an estimated 42 pounds. Something he noted during spring training. I feel quicker. I would say that's the word to describe what I did. Quicker on all aspects of my game right now, especially running the bases. I feel great. Taking ground balls before, I felt a lot of fatigue after 10 ground balls. Now I can take 50 to 60 ground balls. I'm feeling good, but I feel a lot quicker on everything defensively and offensively. It makes sense. Being more conditioned allows you to play the game at a higher level for a longer time before getting winded, and more strength allows for better bat speed, which is becoming increasingly important as more and more pitchers reach triple digits. All in all, these changes heading into the 2021 season gave Vladdy far more confidence than he ever had before, and he tore up the league. Then in the following year, although he took a step back with 33 less runs, 16 less homers, 14 less RBIs, and almost a 200-point drop in OPS, he was still productive, becoming just one of 4 first basemen to post at least 30 homers, 90 runs scored, and 90 driven in, helping him finish with 4 BWAR, a more than respectable number. And in 2023, he finished April with a solid 885 OPS, but only posted one other month above 800. And now in 2024, his struggles have continued, managing just 4 home runs in 35 games. What happened? Before we dive deep into what I believe the main factors are to his slow start to 2024, I would like to bust out one myth regarding his regression I see brought up a lot. That being his 2021 season was only possible because he played in minor league stadiums. And while this is true to an extent, we have to look at the numbers. In 2021, when the Jays opened shop down in Dunedin, Florida, Vladdy played in 21 games, managing 11 long balls, knocking in 28 runs, and held an OPS at almost 1,500. Then when the club moved to Buffalo, New York, he hit 10 homers and knocked in 20 runs in 21 games and had an OPS over 1,100. Great numbers, right? It would be easy to look at these and completely dismiss his 2021 season because of this. But let's keep looking. When the Jays moved back to Toronto halfway through the season, Vladdy continued to rake with 10 homers, 21 RBIs, 27 runs scored, and an OPS of .935 in 35 games at the Rogers Center. Yes, a drop-off from his time in the minor league stadiums, but these numbers are still elite. Ones we have not seen him post in a very long time. In fact, he's not had a 35 game span since, with at least 10 homers and a .935 OPS. He was simply a different player. Take a look at these two home runs, the left from 2021 and the right from 2024. Notice the toe tap and where he's holding the bat. As you can see on the left side, once he brings his toe back, his bat is already in motion, while on the right it's still high and not moving together with his front foot. Because of this, Vlad is starting the bat later, and he has run into some problems early on this season with facing velocity. Take these hacks for example.
It's a fly ball down the right field line, headed foul.
It's okay not to hit the ball 450 feet every single time you step foot in the batter's box, and of course players are going to foul off good pitches here and there, but the fact that he has struggled mightily out of the gate in 2024 while missing pitches he used to do damage on because he's late on the fastball is worrisome. Like in the first pitch I showed you, he was late on a 93-mile-per-hour fastball and a 3-1 count. He had to have been sitting on a fastball, yet he was not able to square up on it, and this has been a problem for a few years now. In 2021, he had a positive 34 run value against four-seamers, and for those of you who don't know what run value is, it is a metric that takes the run impact of an event based on the runners on, outs, ball, and strike count. For example, a strikeout with bases empty and 0 outs turns the run expectancy from .481 runs to .254 runs, and so the change in run expectancy, or the run value of the strikeout, is negative .227 runs. His 34 mark in 2021 was the highest against any pitch in all of baseball, but in 2022 his run value plummeted to just 8. Then in 2023 he continued to regress with just 1, and to start 2024 his figure is at a whopping -2. For more context, when we look at his stats against four-seamers by year, we can see his batting average and slugging percentage against the pitch continues to decline. And in 2024, he is yet to record an extra base hit against one of these pitches after seeing 160 of them. That's absurd to me. A power hitter like Vladdy is struggling to hit velocity when it should be the pitch he is able to do the most damage on. But let's keep going and talk about what everyone loves to discuss with Vladdy, and that is his great exit velocity. It's all we hear about with him, and that's great and all, but if he's hitting the ball hard consistently, then why isn't he doing more damage? Well, most people like to bring up launch angle with Vladdy, but in 2024 his figure is similar to 2021, so we have to dig a bit deeper. In 2024, he's made contact on 48 balls with a 95-mile-per-hour or better exit velocity, otherwise known as a hard hit ball. And of the 48 of them, 31 were hit with a launch angle below 10 degrees, 9 of them between 10 to 19, 7 in the 20 to 40 range, and 1 at 45 degrees. This is important to understand because when a batted ball has a launch angle below 10, it's going to be hit into the ground. This is why we have seen him send balls like this at 112.9 miles per hour off the bat to the second baseman because his launch angle was -7 degrees. But what you really want is to be in that 20 to 40 degree range, which is the ideal launch angle for home runs. In fact, Fangraph states that 94% of home runs hit fall in between these two numbers. So looking back to Vladdy, yes, he's hitting the ball hard, but 64.6% of the time he's hitting the ball at less than a 10 degree launch angle, 18.8% of the time between 10 to 19 degrees, 14.6% of the time between 20 to 40 degrees, and then above 40 a little over 2%, which for those of you wondering how that exit velocity and launch angle panned out, this is what happened. Maybe a little too high of a launch angle on that one, Vladdy, but it happens. And he still had 7 hard hit balls between 20 to 40 degrees. That must mean he has 7 homers, or maybe 5 or 6 if he got a bit unlucky. No. He has just 3 so far this year. The other 4 have all been flyouts. He sent this ball 346 feet at an exit velocity of 101.4 miles per hour to right field. Another at 102 exit velo, this time to center field 379 feet away from home plate. The third was also hit to center field with an exit velo of 105.6, 395 feet from home plate. And finally, the fourth was also hit to center field with an exit velo of 109.7 and hit 394 feet from home plate. Pretty incredible that he's had this many hard hit balls at the ideal exit velocity and launch angle for homers, but only has 3 so far this year, and of the 4 outs, 3 of them have been hit to center field, the deepest part of the ballpark. Now, I'm not saying he should stop hitting the ball to center field, but there is great reason to believe he could benefit from pulling the ball more. Take a look at his batted ball numbers for his career. As you can see, his pulled percentage is around the lowest it's ever been at 24.2%, while he's hitting the ball to the opposite field at an all-time high at 22.5%. This could be a mistake, because in 2021 he had an isolated power of 416 to the pull side. And for those of you who don't know what that means, isolated power is a sabermetric used to assess a player's raw power, with the formula being simply slugging percentage minus batting average, meaning the higher the number is, the better. Now let's take a look at when he hit the ball up the middle. As you can see, he was still solid with an ISO of 343, and then to the opposite field it went down to 299. All great numbers, don't get me wrong, but it's clear he's at his most powerful when he's pulling the ball, like most power hitters. This is further proven to be the case as his pulled stats in 2022 and 2023 warranted a still above average ISO at 399 and 316, while his stats up the middle were significantly lower at 208 and 164, and to the opposite field the same decrease is found, managing just a 225 and 149 figure. This further proves he is at his most dangerous when he's pulling the ball, but as mentioned with his batted ball chart, he's doing it around his career worst rate, which means going back to his former ways of pulling the ball more could be a recipe of success for him, and it's something his teammate Danny Jansen also took time to realize. Take a look at his career batted ball profile, and as you can see, the 2 seasons where his pull percentage were at his lowest coincide with the 2 worst offensive seasons of his career. Then as he went back to pulling the ball more from 2021 and on, he's been a much different hitter with a 125 OPS plus. With all this in mind, Vladdy could stand to benefit from pulling the ball more, and we may have already seen him tap back into this aspect of his game when he sent a grand slam to deep left field on Sunday afternoon. And whether it be this change, any of the ones previously mentioned, or others that weren't, we must keep in mind one thing: he is 25 years old. 25. Aaron Judge was just playing his first full season in MLB at 25 years old, and most players don't reach their prime for a few more years. So to completely rule out a return to stardom for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. would be a bit too early, as we have already seen what happened last time the world doubted him. But now I want you to let me know in the comments what you have noticed about Vlad over the past couple of years that could potentially be hindering his performance. And if you enjoyed the video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. Only a small percentage of people watching are actually subscribed, and it would mean the world to me. Alright, thank you in advance, and I will see you in the next one.